Mhm. Well, then I guess I'll kick it off then, huh?
Okay.
I mean, we've been chatting and you've been hearing that, but either way, we're really, really glad to have you all. We are glad to be able to see everybody's faces, to celebrate the annual meeting. You know, drinks are not on the house, but maybe you can go and grab something if you really need to. I got my coffee right here, you know, and we'll see what next year has in store for us. So feel free to be talkative, you know, and like put it in the chat, you know, interject, and we're looking forward to being able to celebrate all the amazing accomplishments and the celebrating the people of the 2021 has really, excuse me, the 2020 is really elevated for all of us. Um, so I think we can go on to the next slide. And this is when I'm going to be introducing our past president, Devon. Devon, it's been so fun getting to know you from being the president for the last couple of years that I've been a part of the USGBC. Devon has dedicated 6 years to the board, and he served on the Green Building Certification Committee, and he is a rock star fundraiser for us too. And he never hesitates to roll up his sleeves and use his engineering skills to help us out. Even on the stage for the Michigan Energy Summit, you remember all those times? We would have been
Yeah.
stageless without Yvonne. Oh, we're so appreciative to have had you as a past president, and we hope you're not going anywhere soon. But I'd like to turn it over to you if you'd like to say any words.
Yes. So once again, welcome everyone. Hope you guys can hear me okay. But I just wanted to extend a welcome to everyone for joining us for the 2020 annual meeting. You know, things are a little different. You know, just think about, I think it was around this time last year, we were all in person, you know, at the McKay Tower for the celebration. And, you know, 12 months later, here we are virtually. So how quickly times change. But, you know, as past president, you know, going into the past president role, first, I just want to say it's been a joy. I mean, I truly mean that. You know, even though we're going through, you know, these trying times, these, you know, this year or 2020, you know, it's been truly wonderful to work on the board with some wonderful people. And I just have to give kudos to Sherry and her staff. Her staff is a joy to work with. They are hardworking, dedicated, and I can't say enough. You know, that made my you know, job as president and chair of the chapter easy. You know, just because, you know, they do all the work and they don't get, you know, the credit they deserve because they do such a fantastic job. And I just wanted to express that to Sherry, Jillian, Morgan, Wendy, and countless others. But I just want to say, you know, extreme thank you. And as Jillian said, I'm not going anywhere. I just won't be as vocal in the board meetings anymore. But you know, but I'm not going anywhere. You know, I'm here at Western, and we're still trying to do whatever we can here at Western to be sustainable and things of that nature. So, you know, I'm going to continue to be there to support the chapter and help out any way I can. So with that, I want to also say thank you to our sponsors, as well as to the many members that have chipped in to help us, you know, through this this year. So with that, I just want to kind of turn it over to our new president, who I know is going to do a fantastic job, Kristen Trublian. She's, like I said, I know she's going to keep, you know, doing well for the chapter and, you know, and everything. So with that, once again, welcome, and I'll turn it over to Kristen and Sherry.
Thanks, Devon. Sorry all for being late. I'm here now. Happy to see all of you that's here. This is great. So thank you so much, Devon, and thanks everyone for coming, for your continued partnership this year. We appreciate the investment of your time and your resources to our chapter, to our shared mission. I know I'm going to introduce board members here in a minute, but before, I know we wanted to take a minute to say thank you, Devon, for your leadership and for your service. You've always been such a gracious and a caring leader, like making sure to check in on us, on staff, on your fellow directors, and you've also been great at celebrating our wins and empathizing us in our struggles and challenges. So we really appreciate you. And also appreciate your skilled championship of our chapter and our mission, and your skilled fundraising. I know you share our chapter and our mission with everyone you work with and you connect with, and you are just a really awesome ambassador for us. So thank you so much for your leadership. I look forward to continuing to learn from you as you are the past president, and continue to advise us as we go forward. So thank you so much for that, Devon. We are going to miss you, although I know you're not going far, and we won't. So thanks so much for that. And then I know we have another outgoing board member, that is Renee. I believe Renee's on this morning, I saw. We wanted to just take a minute to recognize Renee and her leadership and everything she's brought to our chapter. For those of you probably do know, but for those who don't, Renee has had many leadership roles in our chapter. She was first a founder. She served as board president. She chaired the Green Schools Committee, the West Michigan Coffee Table, the Green Buildings of West Michigan Coffee Table book. She led and spearheaded that. It features many projects that you have all worked on. She's also been just a tireless sustainability champion in her personal life, putting her on her own home and telling everyone about it that she can, as well as in her role at Nichols and in representing sustainability there. She truly walks the walk and has really forged a path for others here in West Michigan, and never hesitated to reach back and pull others along with her when given the opportunity. So for that, we are so thankful. And I want to acknowledge that without her, I wouldn't be here in my role as a board member, in my previous role at Grand Rapids Public Schools, or likely in West Michigan at all. As someone living outside of Michigan a few years ago, her contributions to the movement were clear, and her reputation preceded her. And in 2014, I had the good fortune of connecting with her first on LinkedIn. And I think we met at a regional sustainability event in Northwest Indiana, I think. She probably remembers that too, hopefully. And so I'll just tell you that her reputation preceded her, and she definitely lived up to the working with her these last several years. So Renee, on behalf of the chapter, our board, staff, members, I just want to thank you for your vision, your leadership, your service, and your mentorship. We are grateful to work alongside you. So thank you so much. We really appreciate you. And with that, I just want to make sure I introduce, I see you're in the chat. Thank you, Renee, that we introduce the rest of our board of directors here. I believe they are all. First, I will introduce Sarah Renero. She is incoming as our vice president for this year, for 2021. We have Ryan Musk, who he is going to be our treasurer for 2021. We have Ana Jose, who is our secretary in 2021. We also have Dave Renard. I see we have Andrew Longcore, who is doing great and advising us, and we've been able to keep him on even in an advising capacity, and he's been so gracious and generous to do that as well. So we are just really fortunate, and I'm really grateful to have such a great board and a really deep bench here of folks who are passionate, committed, and lending their particular skills and passion in the service of this organization. So thank you to everyone on our board. And Thank you to our staff as well. With that, I will turn it back to Sherry or
Good morning. So I'm so glad that everyone's here. I'm happy to see the faces that are showing their cameras. So welcome to everyone. You know, I'm so glad I decided to accept this position just a little over 6 years ago now. And sure, you know, the work is great. I love the mission. What we do every day is just fantastic, but the people that I've met and that I work with in this organization are some of the best. And I'd like to have you get to know them the way that we know them. So I asked them to share a few tidbits from their life. And we're going to attempt here to put up a poll and have you see, we'll test your knowledge and see if you can guess which one of our board members goes along with the questions as we see if the polls are popping up. I'm not seeing them, so if anybody else is, give me a sign.
Oh, I filled out my poll. Thumbs up, y'all, if you filled out your poll. That is Ryan, Devon, okay. So we're gonna, thank you, Sarah. We're gonna give it, let's say like 5 seconds now. Really put your thinking caps on, 5 last seconds, and then we're gonna reveal the data.
Why don't you read the question out loud, because I don't know what the question is. For some reason, I must be, because maybe I'm the owner of the Zoom, I can't actually see the question.
Sorry, I just put myself on mute. It was, who was the champion high jumper and hurdler in high school? And so I'm like, who gives me like quick track vibes? So I'm not gonna say who I put, but I'll let you guys know if I'm right. Okay, so let's see what the answers to the poll were. Oh, I was right. Ryan, so why don't you explain a little bit about that, huh? Your high school career?
Yeah, it dates back to middle school, actually. And back in the day, believe it or not, I could jump higher than my own height.
What?
Don't ask me to try that now, though.
I mean, yeah, I think I can't even jump like three inches off the ground. I'm really solid. It's amazing, Ryan.
That's awesome, Wendy. Go ahead and throw the other one up.
Okay, it says, who traveled around Michigan working at a carnival midway during their junior high school days? High school? Working in a carnival in high school?
Junior high school.
Junior high school. Oh, rebel without a cause. Okay, I made my guess. So let's take it 5 more seconds, fill it out, and then we'll take the poll down and reveal. The suspense is killing me, guys. So for those of you who don't see it, a lot of people thought that Anna was a traveler in junior high school here, but the majority of us, more than 50% of us, excuse me, almost 50% of us, thought that David Renard was the carnival worker. And also, I have to admit, I did too. So Dave, what's the story, huh?
Well, yep, that was me. My aunt and uncle would interestingly spend their summer vacations traveling all over the state, working county fairs and carnivals, running. My aunt ran one game and my uncle ran the other game. And one summer, they took my cousin and I, who were similar ages, and we traveled all over the state, living with the carnies, working like a carny, and met some interesting people, learned some interesting things about the life of a carny.
They're replaceable exposures.
and no, the games are not rigged, although the odds are very heavily skewed towards the carnival vendors, but not cheating. And I can tell you most of how the odds are skewed in an offline conversation.
So when you visit like a carnival as an adult, like, do you know how to work the system now?
Yeah, you can't really win, but I do know how they're set up to make sure that you don't win. Although they have to let just enough people win to get prizes out, so that it causes, you know, the people to believe they can win, so they come and they spend money.
Yeah, I've been victim to that many times.
We all are.
Yes. So thanks, Dave, for that question. Let's see what the next poll is. Whose first summer job was a tennis instructor? Tough. Okay, let's give that 5 seconds and then let's see the data. Tennis instructor. I would have said you, Dave, but yeah, it can't be you. The odds are increasingly in our favor as we go down this list. Sarah Renero. So what was that like, your first summer job as a tennis instructor?
Oh, am I supposed to really answer?
Yeah.
I believe that was not Sarah.
Oh. Sorry, Sarah. Kristen.
That was me. Yeah.
It was Sarah.
I was gonna say, Sarah, was that really your first job too? I know we're like we share the same birthday, but I didn't know we had other things in common. But yeah, that was me. I started, I think, when I was 15, teaching tennis to little group lessons to like kids, lower L, and then moved up to private, individual and group lessons until I was about 23.
Oh my God.
Good. It was a good gig. I had like 8 hours a day all summer.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Okay, we got another one coming.
Who was the MSU recycling director while working on their degree? Pretty cool. Well, it's not Kristen.
Got a 50-50 chance here. Are we ready for the results?
Yes. So 69% of us believe that was Sarah Renero. Sarah, is that true?
That's true. That's true.
True.
Yes. I went looking at an old resume from 2008, which was actually a fun trip down memory lane. And I didn't even note this on my resume, which I was disappointed to see, because I had a lot of fun with this job, and I did not just do it for the parking pass. Well, that was a sweet perk, living on campus and having a parking pass. But no, that was a fun adventure, and I went looking for what MSU is doing today, and it's bubbled up to their sustainability officer, which seems like a pretty cool gig. And I feel like where we were at that time with just focused on recycling in the residence halls, it was just a lot of residence halls. It was a big deal, and I worked with a lot of passionate recycler tree huggers like myself at the time, so it was fun.
That's awesome.
All right, well, see who's been paying attention.
Who hasn't worn shoes since the beginning of the pandemic? Oh, that's hilarious. I'm not on this list, but I'm here with you. What's the answer? Everybody believes it's Ana Jose. Ana, is this true? You're on mute, honey.
I'm sorry, that is so true. It's like I wear my warming socks every single day. I've never worn shoes ever again. And I'm thinking, it's like, do I really want to wear a pair of shoes again? And I keep thinking, not really. So it's so comfy that I don't think I even want to think about it anymore.
Yeah, you look at the high heels in the closet and you're like, what was I thinking?
Well, thanks for being great sports to our board members. That was fun. And, you know, that was kind of what we were looking for out of this annual meeting, is to have a little fun with it. So, you know, again, the board members, awesome. We're so lucky to have them. But you know what else makes this job great for me is the staff. So let me just quickly introduce, and we've been interjecting throughout this, but if you'll go to the next slide, you'll see Jillian Gem, our program manager. Jillian keeps pushing forward. She cares deeply about her work, and most of you have probably interacted with Jillian. She's pictured here with her beloved grandma and when they went skydiving for her 75th birthday. Grandma's name is Wanda. She's probably our biggest fan, both of the company and of her awesome granddaughter. And I know, Wanda, you're here this morning, so thanks for being here. You know, Jillian doesn't know I'm going to say this, but I got to say one more interesting thing about Jillian, and that is that she's a new homeowner who keeps her thermostat at 64 degrees all day long. And sure, she might be frugal, but she does this to reduce carbon because the girl practices what she preaches. So that's Jillian in a nutshell. We know her, we love her. Next slide. Wendy Berg, our program coordinator. She's pictured here logging more than 150 miles in the water this summer, even on the coldest of mornings. And I can vouch for that because I talked to her when she's in her wetsuit coming from her swim. You might also spot Wendy riding her bike to work every day. Wendy really keeps us organized with her extraordinary event planning skills. On top of that, she manages membership. She helps keep the bills paid and the lights on. And she's really the glue that holds us together.
Thank you.
On our next slide, some of you may know Morgan. Morgan Pecora is our marketing and communication manager. And you know, a little story about Morgan is I will never forget her resume, because when I read Morgan's resume, I could tell that she had a dream to work here. She wasn't even hired for the position that she's currently in, but she really made it her own by showing her creative abilities, and she really unleashed some raw talent that I don't think she even knew she had on our websites, our flyers, our newsletter. Morgan's not with us this morning because this is what happened on Sunday. This precious little boy couldn't wait until after our annual meeting to make his appearance. Desmond Pecora, known as Desi, was born last Sunday morning. So we're gonna let Morgan take a little time off, enjoy this little precious bundle. So Michigan Battle of the Buildings is over 1,000 properties large now, nearly 250 million square feet. Interestingly, square footage in all of Grand Rapids. The competition's like a city. 7 years running, and we can still say that it's the only Biggest Loser styled energy competition in the country. As promised in 2022, we launched the Detroit Energy Challenge. So now any building owners inside the city of Detroit are eligible for 2 prizes, both from the Biggest Loser statewide competition and from the city of Detroit. We partnered with the city and our friends at the Detroit 2030 district on that. So the next slide, we can see that over the last 5 years of competition, our competitors, many of you on the phone today or on the call today, have reduced carbon by over 200,000 metric tons. Just to put that in a little context for you, that's the equivalent of taking 43 passenger vehicles off the road. And on the next slide, the number we all know and love, what did they save over 6 years of competition? Our building owners have put $24.7 million back into Michigan's economy. These dollars are going straight to their bottom line. And so you can use that money to grow your business.
So the next slide, we're going to do another little poll. It's but this is more of a context of why the 2030 district exists in the first place. For those who can see it, it says, what approximate percentage of the total global CO2 emissions come from the built environment? And this is good context for why the 2030 districts around the nation were created in the first place. So in about 3 more seconds or so that will pop up, and you'll be able to see that, well, I guess I should wait just a bit more. But Grand Rapids is meant to have the built environment of the buildings and the mobility of the transportation in a way, managed in a way which reduces the energy consumption or the carbon footprint, but that also invests and creates a more prosperous place with a profitability and marketability in an equitable manner of all the buildings and businesses in our community. And I don't know if we saw the results of the poll come up yet, but it's exactly 39% of global energy emissions come from buildings and 23% come from transportation. And this is one of the key ways that we can get our cities, where the majority of the globe's population live in, to live in a way which is harmonious with the chemical balances of the globe that we have to continue to thrive in, because as they say, there's no planet B. So I want to go to the next slide and give a sincere thank you to the thought leadership of the DAC. The DAC is the District Advisory Council, and these members are quick and intelligent, and I can't thank them enough for their thought leadership on moving this mission forward. We have Nate and now recently Kristen, who come from a utility scale perspective and energy management leadership from large portfolios. And Eddie over here, he's just the wealth of knowledge of a multi-sector approach to things. He sees the interconnections and what would have been usually considered siloed topics. And that kind of creativity is invaluable. And Sarah and Allison, they're trailblazers, especially in the area of how environmental sustainability is intrinsically married with environmental justice. And we cannot continue this work in Grand Rapids without having an equitable approach to investments. And these are two fantastic voices on the DAC for that. And Bill is the newest, and he is for sure a very valuable transportation knowledge, because when you're managing carbon in mobility, it is a completely different beast than managing carbon in the built environment. And so this group together keeps us moving forward and also keeps us accountable to our mission. And so for anybody on the call, we could not do this work without you. Thank you very much. And on the next slide, we'll be able to talk a little bit about what the 2030 district overall has completed. So in 2020, we've been quite busy this year, and we've been engaging building stakeholders through the series of COVID and the Healthy Building series, the Zero Net Carbon Solution series, cannabis and energy audits. And the 2030 district has educated over 1,900 people in 2020, and through more than 26 online events and webinars. More than 4,200 views have been directed towards the 2030 materials, educating carbon reductions in the built environment. And this has led to a building stock data-wise of more than 250 buildings participating in the 2030 district, and that's above 16 million square feet and 101 stakeholders. So thank you, each of you on the call who participate in the 2030 district. It literally is a community effort, and we're really glad that you're involved. And something interesting, particularly when it comes to what we would call market transformations or early indicators of a sector-wide movement, locally is the cannabis industry. The cannabis industry, what's been unique about them is that in their own way, they have in the licensing a building performance standards of sorts, in the sustainability approach, making the best practices the business as usual from the get-go, because that is what we need to have when we're talking about new investments coming into Grand Rapids, for them to be right from the start, because we don't have a lot of time to get it right. And so far we have 796 registrants who participate in the Cannabis Sustainability Webinar Series. We've created a cannabis sustainability guide with the help of an advisory council, and that has gone to 25,000 square feet reporting on Energy Star Portfolio Manager, which equates to 3 buildings who are almost 2 years ahead of schedule. So they're very much paving the way. And this is out of 8 total cannabis businesses who are participating in 2030, hand-holding them through all the very specific attention that it takes to get sustainability right from the start. And there's more to come. And the cannabis industry is an example of what other industries can look like too. So we're really excited to see how the Grand Rapids 2030 district can partner with the private sector to be able to move this mission forward together.
And 2030 and battle is not where our work ends. This slide provides a really good look at kind of some of the things that we've been focusing on. Some of you may remember the Drawdown Michigan conference, where we welcomed over 500 people to a local conference with Paul Hawken, based completely on climate change solutions. Unfortunately, COVID stopped us from hosting that sequel in 2020, but we're really hopeful that we'll be back to in-person events in 2021. We work individually with small businesses, houses of worship, nonprofits, and educational institutions to provide energy audits from our 2030 professional partners. There are some great resources and success stories on our YouTube channel on the way these businesses have been able to reinvest those dollars back into their business from those energy savings. And when COVID hit, we put on our indoor air quality hat. It was a pretty easy transition, since this has always been something that was a really important piece of high-performing building operation. In fact, around the office or our home offices, I've been known to say that indoor air quality, the attention that has come to indoor air quality right now, is one of the silver linings of COVID. I'm going to let Wendy tell you a little bit more about that series.
Hi, everyone. So early on in the pandemic, some of us went to working from home. Some of us were still in the workplace, and we quickly recognized that there was a huge need for information about COVID best practices. So as Sherry mentioned, being that indoor air quality is something like an important topic to us, we quickly moved it to the forefront in response. And we began our weekly Healthy Building Series webinars with the support of our members' expertise. So through this series, which turned into 12 subsequent webinars focusing on COVID best practices, we were able to greatly increase the amount of content that we had and resources available that we have on our websites and our YouTube channel. And to date, our most viewed webinar was the one that we did in conjunction with Tower Pinkster on solutions for improving indoor air quality, which is at 2,500 views and counting. So we absolutely could not have done this and provided this information to our membership and the public without the support and collaboration and expertise that we received from our members and our business partners. So we want to extend a huge thank you to them for contributing to this content and helping us provide this information. Thank you.
I love this quote. It's one of my favorites. Although we have made incredible progress, our work is not done. We have a lot to do. It's all hands on deck, and we all need to be all in. In 2021, we're going to continue to support you by organizing educational sessions on new technologies. We'll bring forward those resources. We'll provide that place for storytelling. In 2021, we'll advocate on your behalf as our local and state governments are working to create policies that will support the advancement of equitable carbon reduction. None of this happens without your support, whether it's your time, your knowledge, your monetary donations. We appreciate each and every one of you. And in that spirit, I want to use this opportunity to do a special shout out to some of our chapter sponsors for 2021, our visionary sponsors, DTE, Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy, Consumers Energy, the Wege Foundation. For our platinum sponsors, thank you to Permalock, Train, Foresight, Fishbeck, Steelcase, the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. Our gold sponsors this year are on the next slide. They include Hedrick, Founders Brewing, Myers, and certainly last but not least, our silver sponsors, Grand Valley State University, Hayworth, Nichols, Stantec, Walbridge, and Western Michigan University. We can't do this without any of you, and we're especially grateful to members, everyone who's involved in our organization and our mission moving forward. So I see that we have about 15 minutes left. For those of you brave enough, I'd love to take the slide down and put the pictures back up. Maybe we could go back to that, what did you panic buy, what we were talking about in the beginning of this, because I have one more. I already admitted to buying too much dog food and cat food. But the other thing that I did was I bought a camper and a truck. I left in August, and I've been traveling the country throughout this and most of this pandemic. Some of you may see here my view out the window this morning. So I'm doing my best to stay out of the snow this year. I'll be back in April if that's when it stops snowing. I'd love to hear anything interesting from any of you too. That, I don't know, Wendy, if you could take that slide down, and I still see the slide, and maybe we could just look at faces. Awesome. I can't wait until we can all be in person again.
Right, me too. Over the pandemic, I really appreciated, even though we were all like in our separate spaces, there was a feeling of unity and like camaraderie amongst my fellow like nonprofit leaders as well as private leaders as well. I was really moved with how many of our members jumped to donate PPE to Spectrum and Beaumont during the very beginning of it. So thank you for doing that. And in our own ways, I think we all participated professionally and personally to making Michigan safe during the pandemic time.
For sure. Thanks for showing faces.
I think for me, I think the
Hi, Renee.
think for
If
me, I
anybody
think
wants to say anything, remember to unmute yourself. You're on mute.
Oh, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Cool. Well, I think like most of you, I think the biggest thing for me is, is just, making that transition. Because like I said earlier when I was speaking, the welcome is just weird, because it seems like it was years ago that we met in person, and it wasn't. If you think about it, it seems like it was. But, as far as, buying things, like many of you, I got a closet full of just paper products, it's kind of like one of those things where, that one time when you try to go to Meijer, and you guys remember you walked to Meijer, all the paper towel, all the toilet paper, gone. And, all the, hand sanitizer, gone. I think it was just weird. You walk in a store and it's just like, I don't think in my lifetime I've ever seen a Meijer or Target or anyone that had empty shelves of things that you were just, go to buy. And it's like, now they caught up, but that was just weird. So I think like many of you, the impulse buying is, it's like now you don't have to go and get, paper towel or toilet paper, things of that nature. So I think that was probably the biggest shift that many of us have to get accustomed to, is trying to, be prepared not to be able to buy those things because it all being gone. at your local store. So.
If I could just inject one quick thing here that what the last year has taught us, and I think it's been truly a testament to Sherry and the staff around how they quickly pivoted to a new way of doing business to figure out how to continue to provide value to the members, to continue to be relevant as an organization, and to ensure that we were financially sound and not just survive, but we are working in whole new ways. They are working in whole new ways to really thrive as an organization, and they deserve a great deal of credit for making this organization strong, keeping it strong, and giving us a platform to launch forward. So I do really appreciate all that you guys have done.
Thank you, David.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Dave.
I would echo that, Dave. I think it shows how agile and creative as an organization we are, and that's a testament to really our staff and how awesome they are, creative and flexible and adaptable. Yeah, it's been awesome. And with that, and Wendy have put in the chat a survey for how we can continue to support next year. So I just want to drive people to that link there. Yeah, please share your thoughts about how this organization can support you and how it's evolving and adapting, changing during these crazy times.
Yeah, I feel like just to build on that, Kristen, if there are people that want to talk about it now, I feel like if you're comfortable sharing, I'd be really interested. Because I feel like, right, this, we've pivoted, we've, some of the webinars this past year, I feel like are really timely, like you were mentioning, Sherry, with the healthy buildings. What else is out there? What challenges are you guys, up against, and how can we use the chapter to help kind of drive some of that for you? Anybody? My 7-year-old coworker might just run in at any minute. So I just, want to get a quick question in here.
I just want to acknowledge too that while I thank you that, we pivoted, I'm sure a lot of you had to do the same thing. So we totally recognize that everyone is being challenged and that we've all learned new ways, and, some good things are coming out of it. For example, I always wanted to get the accounting to be digital. We were using paper receipts and copies and had to pull things, and guess what? We're digital now. So there's things that came out of this that are going to make us better. And, hopefully that's true of many companies. We've learned different ways to do things.
Yeah, Sherry, I'll second that, because I think a lot of change is caused by major disruptions, and obviously we're in a huge disruption. But I think if we try to focus on the silver lining of it, we've had the chance to reflect, we've had the chance to quickly pivot, and I think this organization's done a great job. And I think just in the year it's been, that reflection and that kind of refocus has allowed us to really set ourselves up for a great 2021 and moving forward. I think, just the disruption has allowed for that refocus. And I think we're really charged up for improving things and, launching a lot of new things coming out of this.
Yeah, I kind of echo that too, Ryan, because I'm just curious, and I said, no, there's so many different people here on the phone. I'd be just curious, as some of you are building owners or, business partners or what have you, I'd be interested to see, what your customers, are, asking you for assistance. I'm just curious because, for us, for example, being a higher learning, institute, as things start, getting better. I'm just curious of what things are you guys hearing from your customers, or what, what they need to move forward, because as we start, building again, and doing things again, one of the biggest things is I know it's going to be looking for a lot of assistance as kids start going back to school. What things are you guys hearing from your clients on what they're expecting from you guys, or what, things are going to help them be prepared to, bring their, people back to the environment. I'm just curious because, as someone here at the university, we're always looking at that as well, because we do have students. I mean, we are in person again, but we still have to practice, the things that the CDC asks you to practice and things of that nature. But we're also looking at various different things out there that can help with ventilation, our spaces, and what new things are out there. And so I'm just curious from others, I know you guys have different various backgrounds, what you're hearing, what you are seeing as people are asking you for your expertise. I'm just curious, just from getting other people involved, because I see so many different faces on here. So I'm just curious what you're hearing out there.
Evan, it's great that you asked that question, because I think that based on the educational piece that Gillian is doing with the Latinx community, a lot of them wants to know a little bit more about solar panels, and how can they really understand how they work and how they could actually use them and to lower their energy usage. And they also are interested in the audits. The audits, I know that we have done quite a few audits for quite a few businesses, and one business will tell the other, and now everybody, I have a list of 17 businesses that are interested in that. And I know we don't have the funding right now, but that's something that we could probably think about it moving forward.
Yeah, to echo that, the call that Anna and I were just on, it was like wildfire. Folks like really connecting with that energy management is smart business planning, and that it's also independence. Having an energy independence creates a more resilient self-navigation of your business. And just a kudos to everybody on the board. Devon, you have been doing backflips with higher education, and Anna, you've been doing 10 jobs in one through this whole year, getting folks through the different the grants and becas and aid to help people through the pandemic. And I don't know how everybody has been able to keep their head on straight. But I just have the deepest respect for everyone on our board for what you've been able to do this year.
Thank you.
Something that I've observed, and I guess I'll throw it out to a challenge as all of us in our organizations and for this organization, but over the course of time, as we've navigated through this whole pandemic environment, what struck me in a way, and I'll confess to feeling a real difference in what I'll call a privileged life has done. We've been pretty much untouched. We don't get to go out for dinner, and we are quarantined in our house. We navigated the healthcare system to get vaccination appointments. And what struck me is for those people who can't afford computers, can't afford internet at home, and maybe don't have the educational opportunities that we have had to figure out how you navigate all of this stuff in this crazy world. And so as we look towards our next year of programming for this organization, how do we tailor things to try to maybe increase our reach to those people who don't have the same kind of advantages that we have? That I mean, just getting an appointment for the healthcare system, knowing how you can try to go in through the apps for the hospitals, but we found if we went in through the web browser, we saw different content than we saw in the apps. And if you haven't had that experience of navigating the internet, we had 2 computers and 4 phones all navigating at the same time here. You know, it showed me really what our advantages did for us. And I think as a chapter, as an organization, how can we extend to try to help bring what we're bringing to a bigger segment of the population?
You know what, David, I really appreciate you saying that, because that's one of the biggest struggles that we have right now in the Latinx community. They don't know how to navigate the system at all. We have had to do trainings and do one by one trainings so that way they learn how to even log into a computer. So it has been a struggle. So I truly appreciate thinking about that, because it's something that it will definitely benefit the community as a whole.
Yep, and then I know another thing that's going to be a big thing that for us to really look at is, and it's going to probably impact the 2030 district, is you got to remember one of the big things I think of the new administration coming in is you're going to have a lot of small business owners that are going to be reopening for, when they get a chance, and they're going to be looking for help on how to make sure that the people that work inside those places are safe and healthy and things of that nature. So something that I think, for us to keep, an eye on is, how do they reestablish that dining environment to be safe, for the people that are working there, but also the people that are going to be coming and eating there. Because you're going to have a lot of these small businesses that are going to be, trying to come back. Many of them had to leave, but most of them are going to be coming back. So I'm pretty sure they're going to be looking for some assistance from, from whoever, just to kind of help them, truly be able to, open and so forth. So something just to keep an eye on, because that's going to be something that's going to be, that I'm pretty sure they're going to be looking for that helping hand, to be able to help them, because they may not have access to a lot of these different things that a lot of the, big companies have access to. So just something, just to be on the lookout for, because I'm pretty sure that's going to be something that's going to be out there.
So with just a minute until 11, I'm sorry, Renee, go ahead. We just have 1 minute left.
I just wanted to mention that we should continue our education around indoor air quality, just because I'm pushing the button this afternoon to submit our recertification for lead for operations and maintenance, and I had to do air quality testing this year indoors. So now I have all this data, and I've got points in our building that have higher VOC ratings, and I'm like, okay, now what do I do with this data? So I think that's going to be important, even, especially with the pandemic.
Yeah, that would be a good subject for sure. How to follow up.
Yeah. So I want to be mindful of everyone's time. It's 11 o'clock. This has been a great conversation. Thanks for being there with us as we tried something new. Thanks for showing your faces and participating in this. I hope it was enjoyable. We tried to be low on the content and just kind of do a little networking thing. Please remember the survey. It's just one question, and it's not a multiple choice. We're asking you for your feedback. So type in there, if you weren't comfortable sharing verbally today, type in there anything like, hey, this networking was good. I like it, more of that. Get to know the board better, the staff better. Is that what you want? Or other educational sessions, whatever it is, we're available by email, phone, and the survey. So with that, I'm gonna let you all get back to your day. Happy Friday Eve. And we'll see you at the next meeting. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.